Hello, everybody. My name is Jesus Jaramillo, and this is my presentation for topic 6, ITT 430, Evaluating Frameworks. Frameworks, this is a comparative analysis of cybersecurity frameworks. So, there are many out there. I chose to focus on these 5 specific ones. What is a framework? A framework is a set of standards that are produced by an organization that has been deemed as specialized with expertise in the given area. These standards can be used as guidelines. Some organizations must implement these standards to prove compliance. There are some laws out there that are in place and enforced, which dictate which standards must be met. Some examples are of some industries that have certain laws in place like that are healthcare, education, specifically those with minors, K through 12. Also, some um, financial institutions, anything that has to do with payment card industry standards. Advantages of comparing cybersecurity frameworks. Organizations face diverse threats and compliance requirements, so following certain frameworks will keep you in compliance, but along the way will ensure that threats are minimized because you have to show that your software, hardware, your employees are have met certain standards of security, certain thresholds. That comes along for with compliance, but since you're implementing those areas, um, threats are being mitigated as well in the process naturally. Frameworks provide structured approaches for risk management and security. Comparing frameworks helps align efforts, avoid redundancy, and ensure compliance. Obviously, some organizations might look to implement more than just one framework, so it is good for those frameworks to be well defined and well organized so the double work is not done, which that leads to higher costs and time lost by employees and effort and there shouldn't be more than one project deemed for each tier of the framework. So doing the double work and spending more money than you should not be something that these organizations do. So these frameworks should be well defined to avoid that redundancy. Framework descriptions. Um, Here we can see a brief description of each framework. Uh, One that I'm familiar with is CSI controls. We see this a lot in networks like government networks, which must comply with certain areas of cybersecurity for insurance purposes, and also to meet any type of contracts with vendors. We see that CIS controls is defined as a set of prioritized actions to protect systems from data and cyber attacks. Here we're dealing with user data, sensitive data that is being stored on the network. Each device that is on the network should be hardened, and CSIS controls give guidelines for that. In my experience, there's 3 tiers, and each tier contains many steps and standards that must be met. Um, at my current employer, we are currently completing step tier 1, which has taken a few years of time and patience to do that. So there are many that tiers controls that need to be implemented still to be fully in compliance. That's our main reasons for cybersecurity insurance. Here we see other ones like SANS controls which work directly with CSX controls to be able to understand how sensitive data should be stored, how many locations that data should be stored in. Obviously, you don't want to store sensitive data on premise. You want to keep it offsite somewhere in case the primary location becomes destroyed for whatever reason it may be. You should be keeping that secure data in another location to avoid an issue with the primary location. HIPAA is another one we see on here, and that is related to healthcare and protects health patient information. Some frameworks specialize in certain areas like technology, as mentioned before, healthcare, financial institutions, and education. One example of a specialized framework is HIPAA. HIPAA governs standards compliance in the healthcare industry. We see that in all types of medical offices, hospitals, um, maybe even dental offices, anything that involves patient medical information. HIPAA governs that industry. Another example is CIS, which I mentioned earlier, which specializes in hardening networks to prevent cybersecurity attacks. Areas of focus for frameworks. Here we see which frameworks provide threat modeling, asset identification we see across the board. Threat modeling, some of them don't. Some are more for guidelines, informational purposes, but some do require that you meet certain modeling to be in compliance. And some of them we see that across the board they meet all three areas here, like HIPAA. Some organizations adopt frameworks because they are required to by law. As mentioned before, one of these is the healthcare industry, and HIPAA is their framework. Other organizations will implement frameworks to comply for certain criteria like cybersecurity assurance or specialized funding from the government. Governments and compliance. Some are mandated by law. Actually, on my list, only one is, which is HIPAA. The rest of them are not. But some are used for certification, like NIST is, and also HIPAA is. And some are sector specific. HIPAA meets all of those requirements because of the healthcare industry. That has been my presentation on the differences of frameworks and how they work together. Thank you.